Greetings, whoever may view this video. Um, I hope all is well with you today. Um, you gotta forgive me. I'm looking little crusty, and yeah, my these braids I was in love with, they're getting fuzzy. But I'm gonna ride these mucks till the wheels fall off. It feels so good, like not having to do your hair when you wake up. Just put it up and go. And I'm on my natural journey, so you know. Definitely foresee for sure. And I love every kink and coil of it, but it takes a little more maintenance. Mine too, because mine's isn't like I have like a fine texture of 4C, so gotta handle it gently. It looks strong, but it has to be handled gently. Kind of embodies me. But it is strong too, right? But it has to be handled gently. um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I got nothing else to do. Need to make a video, you know, get some thoughts out, some food for thought, maybe something, people can expound on, or just, spark a thought in their mind. Um, yeah, but another thing, I'm not even 40 yet. I'm close, but I'm getting my wisdom because if you can look at my, getting all ashy and stuff too, y'all. I'm a work in progress. This is the thing when you get older. I think you stop caring about your looks as much. Um, I mean, you care about them, but come on. See, this is from day one. Day one, and I got a dry, flaky piece right here from the first video I made. My skin and stuff want to act up. I put lip gloss on today, but it's still acting like it want to get some kind of way. But yeah, I'm getting my wisdom. So if you can see in this eyebrow, I got a whole bunch of gray hairs right here, and I got a whole bunch of, I try to slick down the baby hairs. It's looking a little, rough, but I got a whole bunch of gray hairs. Like they're coming in a lot around the edges. And yeah, I'm okay with it. Like it's a part of the process. It doesn't mean that I'm old at all, for sure. It just means that I'm wise, and like, considering the things that I've experienced in life, um, yeah, I'm here with a hoary head. I'm about to have a hoary head. Anybody know anything about the way they had it in the Bible, called it a hoary head? But that makes me proud. Um, yeah. So, I had a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Well, I didn't want to. They just came to mind, so I was trying to think. This is gonna probably be a short and sweet video because I'm really foggy brain right now. So, but I guess the first one is to hurt a child, and all the damage that you can do when you harm a child, right? Um, I'm a survivor. I think I got some warrior energy in me because, I shared some of the details of what I experienced in my childhood, but I couldn't even begin to share it all. I would probably have to sit here for like a year telling all the trauma I experienced every day for a year, just probably a day straight, telling all the trauma I experienced in my childhood. But saying that to say, to hurt a child and to abuse a child or to harm a child is the worst fucking thing you can do. Because everybody's not going to be a survivor. Everybody's not going to come out with a sound mind, right? And unfortunately, I've witnessed this personally, right? Even me, like I've experienced my damage and, my trauma and my self-sabotage and things that I've done because of trauma or seeds that were beat into you or, it just, uh, Hold on. My children are on their way. Yes. What's up?
Just this. I want to go to the zip line and they say I'm going to tell because I was going to come.
Because she wants to play on the swings.
I was going to play on the. I wanted to play on the zip line. I told Faith I was going to go ask you.
Okay.
She was like, I'm telling.
Because she wants to push her baby dolls on the swings. Yeah. So we have to reach a compromise. There's no swing over there?
There is. It's 2 swings, but it's not the kind of swings for me to put my baby down.
Oh, I know. Well, somebody's playing on the zip line. So why don't you go back over there for about 15 minutes? And listen, 15 minutes. And when you come back, then you're going to go to, you have to pack up your little babies and take them to that playground. Okay? All right? Sounds like a compromise. Children. But to hurt a child and to traumatize a child, to physically abuse a child, to sexually violate a child, to neglect a child, to emotionally abuse a child, and we can go on and on. It's really bad because basically you plant the seeds into somebody and those seeds are going to grow. And like I said, I have a warrior spirit. I've been able to overcome it, right? Because that was a part of my process. And I guess it was a part of the assignment that I was sit here for, is to overcome. But I've witnessed like so many of my peers who haven't overcome. I've seen some just completely given to mental disorder. They're gone, like in the head. I've seen some who, like, even now they can't trust other people. I've just seen so much toxicity and damage to youth that I grew up with, directly or indirectly. Like, they're just a part of my generation. They was going through, they own stuff on a different side of town. And a lot of them didn't make it out, right? I know that there was one young lady who was maybe a couple of years older than me, and she passed several years ago. And I don't think her death was like a natural cause. I think it was like maybe an overdose or something. I don't understand, y'all. I don't. I say a lot of times, be it not for the grace of God, I don't know what I would be capable of, but I'll never forget the child in me. I'll never forget, the innocent, happy, free, creative, joy and light being that I was, and that I still am, because that little girl is in there, right? Like, what do you call them? Like those nesting dolls, where it's like little, and then you just keep opening it up, and it's another doll inside, all the way down to the smallest one. Yeah, that little girl is still in me, but I had to go back and take care of that little girl. Because of the failure of those, who were supposed to take care of her, doing so. And like I said, I've made peace with that, right? I've made peace with them. I don't have any bitterness or hate in my hearts regarding that. I think I have a couple of family members who feel like when I address some of the horrible stuff that happened to us as kids and how wrong it was. Y'all, this lip is driving me crazy when I'm not stuffing this video. Oh my gosh. And how horrible it was. Some have Stockholm syndrome, right? Like to have a family member who would be more loyal to an abuser, somebody who abused them, than they would be to their own direct flesh and blood, who's never abused them. So some of them develop Stockholm syndrome, and they may view you saying truth as hate, right? That's another thing. Like when you come with truth and you're sure about what you're saying, a lot of people, and this may be because of the trauma they experienced as a child, they feel like you're attacking them, right? Like they start to look through a distorted lens, and they think that they confuse love with hate and hate with love, basically. I've been blessed to have I'm not telling you how many children I have because it's none of your business. but each and every one of my children I adore and I love, and I see them as a fucking gift. Amazing. They have brought so much joy to my life. I think they actually came to help me along on my journey to keep my mind, keep my mind sane, right? I don't look tired because of the kids. I look tired because I've been banging wine for like the last year or two. But I'm gonna be working on that, y'all. It's a part of the process. I went through my drinking phase. I got some videos explaining that. I'm going to see if I'm going to release that one. But yeah, I went through a drinking phase, and I don't have shame on it because that was a part of me processing my pain. But I knew in the midst of that I was not an alcoholic. It's just a vice that I was using to help me get through the process of where I was at that time, right? But even in that state, I still love my kids. I still did my best to take care of my children, right? So I'm saying all this to say, I don't understand how some of y'all, I'm just going to speak for the generation above me, and unfortunately, and the generation above them, and unfortunately, I think it's some in my generation, right? And then the generation after us that are really out here abusing kids, like, and damaging kids. And some of y'all teachers is doing it. Like, I had my son come home talking about his teacher was yelling at him. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you don't sign up for a job as a teacher knowing that you're going to be dealing with children. They your bread and butter, and you going in there and you being abusive towards my child. You yelling at my child. You don't have a right to yell at my child. That's not what you're there to do. Like, your whole job was to teach children. Like, your whole stilo is that you're supposed to be somebody who cares for children and their development, but you're in the building yelling at them. Like, what the fuck? Step down from your position. Get some help and get that shit corrected, or step down. Because you damn sure don't have a right to fucking damage children, right? Just to think, like, some of these kids are coming out of, like, traumatic home environments, and then they run into abuse at the school. Like, I know what that feels like from the other kids. But, like, even a couple of teachers was on some fuck shit, right? But y'all, everybody's gonna have to give an account for things that they've done, right? At some point or another, there's karma, right? And who knows what all the afterlife entails, or the next life entails. But, repentance. If at some point you were in an error, I hope you repent thoroughly inside your heart. I really hope you do, and I hope that you like, even if you can't go back and tell the person that you harmed you're sorry, you spend the rest of your time, the rest of your days making up for it, right? To whoever you come into contact with, right? Because there's always going to be somebody else who needs a message or who needs something, right? Yeah, but that hurt people statement, that shit kind of annoys me because I was hurt a lot, but I didn't go around hurting other people. Now, I'm sure maybe at some point I did do some. There was one boy, oh my God, I pushed the fuck out of him, like in like middle school. Like, no, it was in elementary school, and he didn't do shit to me. I did. Like, I pushed the shit out of him. I'll never forget his name. Oh my God, I'm not going to put his name out there, but yeah. And that was horrible. And I felt bad about it. And even then, being spiritually aware, I was like, why did I do that? And I did it because this little boy was special needs. I wouldn't say, yeah, I think it was kind of special needs. He was a little different, right? But he got a lot of attention and care, a little boy. But yet, here I was, this little raggedy haired girl who was coming to school, getting bullied every day, getting bullied at home, dealing with abuse and stuff, and nobody seemed to give a fuck about, my issues. And I think at the moment I decided to shove him, I think I was just angry because I was just mad because I was like, why does this little boy who has a mom and dad who really seem to love him have all these people in the school supportive of him, a little boy, and me, this little girl who's going through hell? Nobody seems to give a fuck. So that was wrong, right? And I'll never forget his name, and I'll never forget pushing him like that. Like, because that was not something just came over me. It had to be the devil. I don't know. Like I said, I was young, when you abuse your kids and you terrorize your kids, you leave them subject. Why the fuck would they bring their asses over here? You leave your kids subject to vulnerabilities. Let me pull up. We got this weird ass trap car. I want to put all the parking spots in the parking lot. You want to park next to me for why? Energy vampires. I told you about them. Why the fuck you come over here? Get the fuck out of here. All the motherfucking all these empty parking spaces, they would have come in a cut. I tried to park in a cut too, y'all. That's the crazy part. But anyways, yeah, when you abuse your kids and you harm your kids, you leave them open to not good energies. And yeah, I pushed the little boy, and I hope he forgives me. I'm not gonna say his name. But if he sees this video, he'll probably remember. We were going up the steps. We were the only two people in the stairwells, and I was just like, ah! And that was horrible. It was horrible. And I think I got paddled for it and sent home. This is back when I used to paddle us in school, y'all. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm all over the place as usual, but it really comes down to how could you hurt a child, And then, some of these people get so broke that they just continue to cycle and they continue to hurt, other children. I'm sitting here at the playground and these kids are just free and happy and they're doing their thing, right? And that's the way it's supposed to be, right? And then, you damage these children and you hurt them and then you sent them amongst other kids because you know how public schools is. Jeremiah, that was way too hard. That was too hard. Excuse me, y'all. Then you send these broken, damaged kids amongst other children, and these other children are terrorizing the other kids or just wreaking havoc on kids that don't deserve it, right? And mommy and daddy don't know because they're not with the kids all day. They don't know what's happening with the kids. And sometimes kids don't always tell us everything that they're going through, right? So, I don't know. I just want to cover that. Like, it's no excuse in 2021 for anyone to be harming no kids out here. None. Never was. But, people just used to get away with shit a lot more. And that's the excuse they used to use. Like, it was a different time. Right has always been right and wrong has always been wrong. It was just a time where shit was more, like, where people could get away with that shit and not have the consequences of what they was doing. And I guess that time is coming to an end. Yeah, so I think that's all I'm going to talk about today. I wanted to get into something else, but that would be so far removed from what I'm speaking on now. Um, but yeah, it's about the children today. It's about first healing. Sorry, y'all, we're crazy with that too. Still mission healing the inner child in you first, right? So now there's a spirituality and awakening, and they call it shadow work, and they call it all this different stuff. Like, this has been happening for me for a long time. I didn't have a name for it. It just was God and His Holy Spirit and His angels leading me, right? You have to go back and take care of the child in you that nobody else took care of, right? You have to. You have to go back and you have to love that child. You have to look at that child. Crazy thing about being an adult and being aware with your spirituality, you can be the mother to that child. You can be the mother to the old child in you. You can be the father to the own child in you, right? Whatever that is, like, sit down and really think about it and feel it, and then acknowledge where you were hurt and traumatized, right? Because like I said, a family member that I'm no longer talking to, I don't think that and like I said, I think they have a form of Stockholm's, because I don't think they really have sat there and processed what happened to us as a child and what those who were supposed to be, our guardians, those watching over us, did to us and how wrong it was. And they might say it was a different time. No, the shit was still wrong then. It was wrong, right? And then they did the shit so recklessly, and then they had the audacity to turn around and say it was our fault that they did it. That's how they made us feel, right? And so look at God. The way, like I said, the way some of these people handled us it's almost like they expected us to be dead. Like it's like they didn't care if we lived or died, right? They didn't see us growing into adults. Like, motherfucker, I was gonna grow up, and I'm not a fake bitch. I'm not gonna sit here and act like you didn't do the shit you did to me, right? And I've had in the process and the things that I've had to work through because of what you did. And you want me to believe that me as a 12-year-old girl or me as a 14-year-old girl was just as accountable as you, a fucking 30-plus-year-old motherfucker. Y'all full grown, right? But, 1 second.
When we get done, can we do some very please?
Bye, Faye. Some Dairy Queen. No, you're not getting no Dairy Queen. But to convince us that we were more accountable than they were, right? And I don't think that family member has really sat down and processed the trauma they experienced, right? I did. It took a while. I did. I had to sit in that stuff, and I had to feel it, and I had to think about it, and I was like, that shit was always wrong. And then when you realize the audacity and the horror and what these people as grown adults was doing and how they were conducting themselves towards you, like in pure hate. How could you hate a child that fucking much? How, right? But see, like I said, doing the work, I sorted through it. I've been able to tell the little girl that she didn't deserve what was done to her, that what these people did was wrong. I've been able to love her. I've been able to take care of her and how I've been taking care of myself, feeding her, loving her, letting her get rest, listening to her, loving her when nobody else will, right? And then you get to a point where you're no longer angry at what the people did. You don't have hate. I don't even know if I would say you have to forgive them, because at a point it's just like you just don't feel anything for them anymore. And then you start to feel pity for them, because that thing called karma she always comes around. She does, sooner or later, right? And I feel like I feel like from what I've learned, it's better if karma comes sooner than later, because I feel like the longer karma takes to come around, the worse it is, basically. And even karma is good, because karma's trying to teach y'all. Karma's still trying to teach your ass a lesson before you leave this earth. It's still trying to teach your ass a lesson. Like, now you getting back what you gave, right? And now you're getting. And I feel like karma would only have to come if you're refusing to acknowledge what you've done to harm other people, or what you've done in error. I feel like karma is like the last wake up call to be like, I'm gonna beat your ass, and like. Karma don't even beat your ass. Karma is just, it's intricate. But to give you a chance to see what you have done to other people, in hopes that you will repent before you leave this earth, right? Some people still refuse to get it. Yeah, but to love on the child in you, and to go through those phases, right? And then, it's tricky, because, you have to go back and love on the child while you're learning adulthood. But what I want to tell you is, I believe when you're connected with God in the kingdom of heaven, that they will create that space for you to do it. They will. Because the crazy thing is they're protecting you and watching over you when you're not in that space, when you're so fucked up and you're so damaged that you can't even begin to acknowledge the broken child in you, and how you have the power to love that child, right? They've protected you all this time. They've watched over you. I don't know about y'all, but I've had a couple of incidents where I should have died and I didn't, right? Like, I almost drowned right here at this park that I'm sitting at. I almost drowned almost at the bottom of the pool, and my life was about to be gone. And a lifeguard saw me at the last moment, right? Being young and just lost and drowning in pain and confusion. And then on top of that, being in puberty and having hormones, and just put myself in very dangerous, unsafe situations. Things that I've done as a fucking adult, right? But yet, God sustained me, and He kept me here long enough for me to get my gray hairs, right? And, yeah, like I said, if you look at my face and you're like, oh, she looks rained down, so be it. This has been the process. I can rest and recover, and put my physical appearance first. But I'd rather take care of my soul first, and the rest will come later. Because I'm not an image-ridden person. I realize that it's not about your fucking facial features or how the fuck you dress. None of that shit matters. None of it matters. None of it matters. Like, I don't care how loud the message is that the society puts out, that people put out. It's loud and it's wrong as fuck. But, yeah, they're going to create that space for you to love that child and to go through that process, because, like I said, your spirit guides, the angels assigned to you, God, they've kept you. Like, they probably protected you from shit you didn't even know they was protecting you from. Right? So children, love on the child that's inside of you, so you can be a light to children that come after you, yours or somebody else's. And then after you love on the child, you got to love on the teenager and the young adult. You got to go through the process. But I promise it's worth it in the end. Take all that love that you were supposed to get from the adults, from the leaders, from the family, from the friends. Take all that love that you were supposed to get that they didn't give you, and give it to yourself anyways. All right, that's all I got. It's all over the place, y'all, but since I got some time on my hand, I might as well put something positive into the air. All right, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.